everybody, this is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, coming to you from my home office here in Holiday, Florida, with verse 5 of the Tao of Network Marketing. I am reading the translation that is in the book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. There are several translations out there. For instance, I have this translation right here, and I guarantee you that the 5th verse in this book is going to be very different from the translation here. But we're going to just work off this, and that's that. I don't know why I got into that long thing. Immediately upon reading this verse the first time, I had to actually sit back and practice the Tao, because I had all sorts of opinions and judgments about it. And I needed to really let myself just relax so that I could have a deeper understanding to what it meant and how I could relate it to network marketing. So I'm going to go ahead and read the verse for you. You may notice it right away. Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things as straw dogs. The sage is not sentimental. He treats all his people as straw dogs. The sage is like heaven and earth. To him none are especially dear, nor is there anyone he disfavors. He gives and gives without condition, offering his treasures to everyone. Between heaven and earth is a space like a bellows, empty and inexhaustible. The more it's used, the more it produces. Hold on to the center. Man was made to sit quietly and find the truth within. I think what started to arise in me was like a resistance to even allowing myself to have an opinion and a judgment on it. I really was taken aback by it. So I continued to read, and I continued to understand just a little bit more. And what really excites me is that actually reading a verse put me in the position where I had to apply what we've learned already in verse 1, 2, 3, and 4 to help me to get through it. So I'm going to read to you a few things that Dr. Wayne Dyer writes in his chapter about this. And this I think will be helpful to you as well. It doesn't show preference by giving energy to some while depriving others. Rather, the basic life-sustaining components of air, sunshine, atmosphere, and rain are provided for all on our planet. So now, you feel that? You feel that? When you provide value to whether you're writing a blog post or shooting a video, however it is that you're presenting the value that you have in your soul and your business and your work ethic and what you have to offer the market, you should do it in such a way that it doesn't exclude anyone out of it. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to participate or that everyone's going to get the message. The business of you is to just be and put it out there, right? And it starts to make sense. I want to explain what straw dogs are. In Stephen Mitchell's translation of the Tao Te Ching, he explained that straw dogs were ritual objects venerated before the ceremony, but afterward abandoned and trampled underfoot. Now that brings me back to the book of Job that I was talking about the other day. What this verse is really trying to, how I feel it's applied to network marketing, is when people become to hoard and start to favor one over the other and start to kind of like hoard their people, it becomes something ugly. Something ugly happens. I actually had an experience with this a couple of years ago. My sponsors were just crazy. And instead of really coming from a place of love, even though that's where they wanted to come from, they came from a place of fear and scarcity. And it showed. And God forbid somebody didn't show up for a hangout because they had to do something else or anything like that. And they became very petty immediately. And they immediately started to point fingers and make blame, and that's the kind of thing you want to avoid doing. And it's not easy. It's not easy because there are times where you're going to be building a team. You can't covet your team. You can't love them so much that it overtakes your ability to see impartially. It'll first of all stop you from recruiting, which you don't ever want to really stop. It'll stop you from coming up with fresh ideas, because you'll always be facing your team in the way of how can I get them to stay? How can I get them to stay? Well, you can't keep anybody. None of them are your possessions, right? So when you're building your network marketing business, keep this in mind. You don't have to feel like someone's not special, but I want you to know that they're humans, just like you are a human, and everybody's really extraordinary. All the people that you bring on your team are super extraordinary. If you treat them all in that light of extraordinary, you're going to nurture so much more out of them than if you just consider one or two of them special. One or two of them may be special. They may seem to produce more and stay around longer and get more done and build their business the way you think they should be building their business and whatnot. And others may not. But when you look at each individual as a brand new day, really get down to that brand new day thing, you start to explore even more abundance in your business. So let's continue. The more rapport we have with the energy of the Tao, and the more that we are living from it's all creating perspective, the more it is available to us. It's impossible to use it up. If we consume more, we simply receive more. But if we attempt to hoard it, we'll experience shortages in ourselves, along with the failure of having even a wisp of understanding. I'm going to let that sit. Stay in harmony with the impartial essential of the Tao in all your thoughts and all of your behaviors. David Wood made a video, I would say it's going on 2 months ago now. And he put it in a blog post, and it was phenomenal. And he was talking about how sometimes leaders, they forget, they need like humble pie or something like that, that you don't stop just because you're making the money that you expected to make, or you don't stop just because you recruited 300 people in your business over the past however long it took you to do that. You don't stop there, because what happens is you get fat. Now, I learned this in car sales, that one of the biggest things they taught us, they put us through this training that was absolutely amazing, powerful personal development training. And they talked about don't get fat. For instance, one of the people in the training, they had sold a used minivan, and they had held all the profit in the ticket price. Now, if you've sold cars before, at least back when I did, used cars held about $4,000 worth of profit in it. So when you saw a used car for $10,000, it could be sold with a minimal profit at $6,000 without a problem. The more the profit, the more that the dealership makes, and more importantly, the more that the salesman makes. So he was able to hold the value of the car at the sticker price, and he brought in a tremendous profit. And he, being, I think it was like 20%, he got to make off the profit, not off the total cost of the car, just out of the profit, after all the other things that the dealership takes up. He was so excited, but he was still on training pay, and the training pay, what they were paying was $400 a week. You sold your cars, and you could stay there for, I think they let you stay there for up to 90 days, so that you can kind of get in the swing, because you really want to be selling anywhere from 7 to 11 cars a month in order to make a living. Otherwise, you don't get paid. So they wanted to help you build that habit of being a closer. And but since he sold his car with this giant commission, he immediately asked the sales manager to take him off the pay. Take him off the training pay. He wanted to be on straight commissions like everybody else, because he had so many little people in his ear saying, "Oh, look at all that money, you're just going to give that to them," And of course, the sales managers would have been the ones that, all the managers that were involved in the deal would have been the ones that made the money off that commission. And Tom tried to warn him and tried to say, Phil, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not smart, because once you come off the training pay, you're not going back on it. You won't be able to go back on it. And that could mean the difference between, how long you're here selling cars for successfully and not. So Phil wasn't thinking long-term game, because he was thinking, I need money right now, and I want to make that profit. And so he came off the training pay, and he got his couple $1,000s. I think he got like a $2,000 commission. Something crazy. It was huge. So he felt like he won the lottery, and he went and he paid off some child support that he owed, and he paid his rent, and he paid his car payment, and he paid his insurance payment. Those were the big things that were there, and then he went and blew it, the rest, whatever was left. And on just stupid stuff, on just dumb things, a bag of weed or whatever the fuck he bought. And sure enough, he never really developed the habit of being a closer. And sure enough, he didn't last too long. I'm pretty sure I outlasted him there, and I never really got great at selling cars. What that meant was that he got fat on that idea, and he didn't think of the long term. The long term would have been that he would have been taught how to continue holding value on a vehicle while he sold them, so that he could indeed make decent commissions as he went. You have no idea, guys, how often that you buy a car from a dealership and you literally have just cut the freaking salesman out. When you haggle, that's who you're cutting out. You don't cut the dealership, doesn't take a hit. It's the salesman that takes a hit, always. Always. So if he had just waited his 90 days and just developed the habit of holding the value like he did at that particular car deal, that he would have had much more successful career. Probably would still be selling cars now, if not running a showroom himself or owning one himself, or whatever, kind of success that you can have in the car business. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't allow yourself as a network marketing professional to get fat. You have a good day. Maybe you have one of those days, that day that I had the 7-fer. Remember I had the 7-pack? Where I had 7 people enroll. I had only a goal of 3 for the day. If I had stopped at that 3, I would have totally lost the 4, right? So every time that you're moving towards a goal, never let you stop. Don't let yourself stop just because you reached one part of it, one aspect of it. Doesn't mean the week's over or the day's over or the month's over. It means that part of your day is finished and that you're now set a new goal. Okay? And don't look at any in particular aspect of any of it as extra special, but look at it all as extraordinary. Okay? I think I'm explaining pretty good. We're on 12 minutes. I don't want these really long videos. Okay, so offer your treasures to everyone. I'm going to put in the blog post 3 different steps that Dr. Wayne Dyer gives to help us to embrace verse 5. I'm not going to say them in this video, but I am going to leave you with this. As many times as possible today, decide to approach interactions or situations involving other people with a completely fair mindset, which you allow and trust to guide your responses. Do this as often as you can for an entire day with individuals, groups, friends, families, members, or strangers. Create a short sentence that you silently repeat to continually remind yourself that you're approaching this situation with an unbiased attitude, such as, guide me right now, Tao, Holy Spirit, guide me now, or Holy Spirit, however you want to say it. Just embrace this. This is going to really help you out so much because you won't have all these hang-ups, especially if you're getting on the phone with a prospect, somebody that's interested in your business. There's something amazing about how David Wood teaches how to handle the phone, and it's absolutely beautiful. And one thing that he does is he approaches it very level-minded, and it really doesn't matter one way or the other which way the conversation goes. And because of his letting go of that is why he closes more calls than most people do. Another person that teaches this all the time is Jeffrey Combs, and you may have seen, I think I've written a blog post or 2 about him, and I advertise him all the time. I just love the guy. He says your highs got to be low and your lows got to be high. So always be in the middle. Always be in the middle as much as you can and be very monotone and very calm. They always say enthusiasm sells things. I know that they used to tell me that when I was a car salesman. Enthusiasm sells cars. No, it doesn't. I was the most enthusiastic, value-driven car salesman on their lot. I was really good at making people like me and having them feel comfortable around me. I was really good with that. I didn't close very well, though. Very well at all. So it's not about how enthusiastic you are. It's how unattached to the outcome you are. I was always living under the gun. I was always late with everything. All my bills were always late. My rent was always late. I was stressed out by the just the whole immensity of being an adult and having a child to take care of. That I was unable to relax in the sale and just close the sale. one way or another. And if somebody didn't want to close, then I just move on. It just didn't work out that way. So now I have that calmness, that zenness about myself. And when you get on the phone with me, if you are on my email list, that my email list gets my phone number every day in case they want to give me a call. Now, if say you were on there and you said, well, let me give her a call, you would not get somebody that's, over used car salesman type of person. You wouldn't get that, oh, da-da-da. You might hear enthusiasm in my voice, and you might even feel some enthusiasm from me. That's just you understanding my excitement and happiness about the work that I do. However, whether you join or not is none of this or none of that. It doesn't matter to me. Because with or without you, my goals will be met. Because I know, and I'm comfortable with that. I feel that, and I'm able to receive that. So, in essence, verse 5 is just another punctuation point on what we've been discussing so far. And that's let yourself just get real zen. And whenever you find yourself getting riled up about something, for good or for bad, get some zen about yourself. Allow yourself to feel good. Choose love as often as you can. Stay as close to that side as possible. And give up hoarding anything. There's no lack. This verse goes back to the illusion of scarcity. There is no such thing as lack. You can't use up too much, because as soon as you use up too much shows up. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. So this is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, closing out verse 5 of the Tao of Network Marketing. I hope you enjoy. And don't forget, definitely go over to the blog post. That'll be the second link in the description on YouTube. And get those 3 steps that I talked about that Dr. Wayne Dyer suggests for us to use. And whenever you feel like I did today when I read that verse, and I got a little I don't even know what it was, just get calm. Don't let things confuse you on an emotional level that can hurt your benefit to the world. Let's just All right, guys, I love you all very much. And if this whole thing totally vibes with you, you feel me, click the first link in the description and let's get started today. There is no time like the present. I love you all. Bye.